bad news for a lot of privacy people out there. The Syncthing Android app is being discontinued, but alternatives remain available. So Simon Frey, the maintainer of Syncthing, has announced the retirement of the official Android application. The decision stems from challenges in publishing on Google Play and the lack of recent development and active maintenance for the app. Frey cited insufficient motivation to continue maintaining the app given its dormancy and the difficulties with Play releases. Genuine question, if anybody can tell me what difficulties with Play releases, because my brain is still living in the past 10 years ago where like a lot of apps are Android only because Android is so open and developer friendly and it's just easier to get your app on the Play Store. I would also cite the abundance of malicious apps on the Play Store as proof of that. So I'm genuinely curious, like what difficulties have arisen in the last few years that are like, again, I'm not a developer. I'm genuinely curious about that. I want to know more. Anyways, the final release of the app will be available on GitHub and F-Droid alongside the December 2024 Syncthing version. Users seeking alternatives, and this is coming from alternative2.net, just for context. Users seeking alternatives can run Syncthing in Termux on Android, though this option lacks the user-friendliness of the dedicated app. Despite the discontinuation of the official app, Syncthing remains available for use on Android devices through other means. They probably mean just sideloading it directly, but we are not fans of that. Umatrix. Sorry, I was thinking about it earlier. I remembered when we were doing the live stream together last week, you mentioned using something, and I remember making a face, and I think I even made a noise. And I forgot to like circle back and explain why I did that, because you mentioned using Umatrix, and I loved Umatrix. Umatrix was awesome, but it is no longer supported. It hasn't been updated in like I'm bad with time. It's probably a lot more than 3 years. It hasn't been updated in years. And it's same thing here. So you can probably still sideload Syncthing, but the longer it goes from that support date, the more we're going to have 0 days, vulnerabilities, compatibility issues. Same thing with Umatrix. It's probably okay to use for a little bit, but you guys should probably, for those of you who use this on Android, you should probably start looking through some of those other means, or hopefully someone will fork it and pick up the mantle. I mean, there's a lot of potential options, but yeah, I think this is unfortunate because I know this is really popular in the privacy community. I'm sorry, everyone who uses it, genuinely.
Yeah, so I don't know why Alternative 2, maybe they didn't know, because I didn't know either. I mean, actually, the only reason I knew about this is because someone responded and let me know on our forum. There actually is already a fork that's existed for a long time, and it's called Syncthing Fork. Pretty easy to remember. There actually were a lot of enhancements they made from the Syncthing project. So you can like sync every hour to save some more battery. There's some UI differences. They solve some battery issues in different areas. There's a Syncthing camera. There's just a lot of changes they make. And they actually have instructions on their site for how to switch from the now deprecated official version to their version. Pretty much what that looks like is you go to Syncthing, you go into settings and create a backup, and then you import that backup into the Syncthing fork. That's kind of probably the best option for all you people who still want to use Syncthing on the Android. My only thing that I'm not familiar with, because I'm not super familiar in the development of this and who's behind it, I don't know how much work this fork was putting into actually maintaining kind of the entire project. So I don't know if the fork will continue to make improvements and enhancements and fully take over what the project used to be, or if it was more of just a wrapper that added a few things on top of what they were doing. Another way to word that, if Firefox disappeared, I don't know if Mullvad would still be a browser, for example. And I think this is a similar situation of I just don't know like how much the Syncthing fork is going to be able to do without Syncthing. And maybe there is no issue here.
Thanks for watching this clip. It's actually taken from the Surveillance Report podcast, which is our full-length podcast where we talk about privacy and security news every single week. We post it on YouTube as a video. We also post it on PeerTube for those of you who don't like YouTube. And we also post it as an audio version that you can find on every major podcasting app, as well as just RSS. Check us out either here on the screen somewhere or at surveillancereport.tech, and stay up to date out there so you can keep yourself and the people around you safe.